Hello and happy Friday, and thanks for tuning in to Radio Free Rhinecliff.org and this show in particular. Correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm. I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Terence Boylan, a.k.a. Boona. How did Boona happen? Where did that come from?
The rumor is that it's Gaelic for baby, Boona, and B-O-U-N-A-G-H, but it's I think it really means inhuman, unathletic, and breaker of all my toys. It was invented by my brother.
Your big brother, little brother?
Big brother, John. Hey, we have a couple of things to toast to.
Good.
First of all, to
and
you.
Thanks for bringing the margarita. What a treat. So nice to meet you, too.
Couple of things. Well, we just passed Cinco de Mayo, so that's one. We got Mother's Day coming up. I don't know if you guys ignore that one.
I had a mother.
I know. That's why I'm toasting to you.
To you, Jen.
To the great mother. And also, my brother John was just inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame on Thursday.
Wow!
So we're kind of still toasting to that. It was just marvelous, the presentation they did.
Oh, great!
Lee Sklar was with him. Dolly Parton.
Oh man!
Keith Urban. George Thorogood. It was quite a lineup, and Don Felder from the Eagles, old friend of mine. He played on my first demos before I got a record deal.
Don Felder from the Eagles.
Yeah.
And somewhere I was reading about your brother pulling together the personnel that later became the Eagles as a backup band for Linda Ronstadt.
That's correct, yeah.
It's amazing. It's just an amazing era that you lived in and worked in.
I did. I was just right at that right time where I got, had to go from the Ames brothers to Bob Dylan, and it was like a perfect arc.
Yeah. And you hung out with all these people. You moved in those circles. One of the things I read, it's in your literature, is how Bob Dylan bumped into you in New York City, and I guess he knew you and knew what you did, and said you should really be making music. You should be writing and playing.
That's close. That's a close story.
Good. Close enough for internet radio.
I'll tell you. I'll back up a little bit. Okay, it started with a broken a plastic ukulele that somebody threw out that only had 3 strings on it. And I tried everything to make a 4th string. I tried rubber bands, and I tried monofilament. I tried everything, but it didn't sound right. So I learned to play it with 3 chords. You have to be pretty creative to play Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers with 3 strings and 4 chords, which is all I knew.
On a plastic ukulele.
Right. So because I was using strange fingerings, I started writing songs to them. When Dylan's first album came out, I just thought it was amazing. So my friend and I hitched to New York to find him, actually. And we ran into him the first night outside the Gaslight.
Wait, and how old were you?
16. I was going to be 16 that fall. He stole his father's Corvette.
Your buddy?
My buddy Quentin, yeah. His father owned a bunch of stores in Buffalo, and he kept a Corvette covered in the garage.
What year was the Corvette?
It was a 61.
This is sounding a lot like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right. He stole his father's car. We drove to New York. All we had was a Sinclair gas card. And there in front of the Gaslight Cafe was Dylan standing there with Ramblin' Jack Elliott and Dave Van Ronk. And I said, that's got to be him, Quentin. That has to be him. So I went up to light his cigarette, and I said, Mr. Dylan, because I didn't know how to. He was so young and so new.
Right.
And he said, no, I'm not Bob Dylan. That's Bob Dylan. And he pointed to Ramblin' Jack Elliott. After a bunch of riffing, I told him I wrote songs, and we went to Israel Young's Folklore Center and swapped songs for all afternoon. It was great.
And what was Israel Young's Folklore Center?
Right next to the Gaslight and the Kettle of Fish, Izzy Young had a guitar store, all guitars and banjos along the wall, piano on this side, and in the back was a small room where musicians could play for other musicians and try out songs and sit around and drink coffee. It was a hangout.
And you found yourself there within a couple hours of landing in New York City.
Exactly.
Within a couple hours of meeting Mr. Dylan.
Right.
Well, what did that
and
feel
Dylan
like?
said, "Hey, listen, that's good, man. You should be doing stuff. I mean, you thought about that?" I said, "Well, I'm in school. He said, "How old are you?" I didn't dare tell him. So I said, "I'm just, I'm young." I didn't tell him I was 15.
Right. So you're 15. So after that amazing night, what happened? How much longer did you stay in New York City with a stolen Corvette?
The next day, we had to be back at school. But I was so jazzed that I started playing the clubs in Buffalo. We had the Limelight, the Lower Level, the Zuni, and Bell Book and Candle. It was a big music scene. And Peter, Paul, and Mary and Kingston Trio and stuff would come through town. And they'd come down to the clubs and hang out and listen to what everybody was doing.
Now, I got to ask, you mentioned a club named Bell Book and Candle. Did that precede the movie of the same name, or
I think she took it from it.
Okay.
So we're talking 62 now, 63, right. 62. It was in Ridgeway, Ontario, just across the border from Buffalo.
Right.
If you lived in Buffalo, you were going back and forth to Canada all the time. Over the Peace Bridge.
Probably pretty easy.
It was a piece of cake. And all they asked you was where you were born. You could say anything.
Right.
And so spending a night in the club in Ridgeway and then coming back to Buffalo was, Neil Young did that circuit too. He was in Toronto. He'd come down and play the Bell Book and Candle and the Limelight and go back to Toronto.
Right. Amazing. So you went back up there, you started playing out?
Playing all the clubs, open hoot, the hoot night and stuff. I did that later in the Village too, but playing the club scene in Buffalo got you famous very quickly.
People, in Buffalo?
In Buffalo, yeah. You were, this is big fish, and when they started booking you to pack the place, they would advertise you all over the place. So I would see posters of myself, when I was 16 and 17, all over Buffalo, saying, this week at the Limelight or this week at the Lower Level. So you got very well known pretty soon.
Right. And what was that like for a 17-year-old to be sort of famous in your town?
I thought I was Bob Dylan, frankly.
Yeah. How long did that feeling last? Or is it
a novel's length.
A novel's length.
Yeah.
But what a treat. So how long did you stay in that relatively smallish pond of the Buffalo folk scene?
Till 63. I went to the Newport Folk Festival and auditioned for Theodore Bikel and Pete Seeger. And it was called the New Folks Concert. And they did it 2 afternoons in a row. And I sang them 3 songs, and they said, "You're in."
Great.
And they said, "That's what you can sing is 3 songs. Everybody only gets 3. And we have on that same show is Tom Rush, Ian and Sylvia, and to close the New Folks Concert is Bob Dylan.
He was considered a new folk at that point?
No, he was very well known at that point. He did it for the going backness of it. He had done it the year before, I think.
Gotcha.
I don't know if he'd done it the year before, but Pete Seeger asked him to. They were good friends, and he said, "Listen, Bob, would you close out the New Folks? It'll give them all a real lift, Yeah. They're on the same bill as you."
Forget about it.
And he said, "Sure, man, sure, absolutely."
That's great. And
he didn't bring his harmonica, and I had one, so he borrowed it. Now, what do you do with a harmonica that Dylan just played?
And you put it in a frame and hang it on your wall.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, what a blast. Do you remember what you played, what those 3 songs were?
Uh-huh. I played 2 songs I wrote. One of them was Talking AUH2O. I don't know if you are familiar with the bumper sticker when Goldwater was running for president.
Gotcha.
Talking Goldwater Blues.
Yeah.
Seems every time a leap year rolls around, there's a big connection at polls in town. There's a whole lot of people, a whole lot wrote about where I'm supposed to cast my vote. There's a politician looking teeth at me, saying, I will accept a draft. I say, hell, buddy, you got a draft already in between your ears. It was a very Dylan-esque talking blues thing.
It sounds a little Dylan-esque, the singing style, more than...
As I said, I thought I was Dylan. I went to Bar Harbor, Maine that summer, and nobody'd ever heard of him. So I played the coffee houses in Bar Harbor and did all Dylan songs, and they all thought I was a genius. They were like, "Man, you're the best writer I know. That song is just great."
That's great. And
Play that "Blowing in the Wind" one again. you know?
yeah. How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, I know. It's easy. It was just blowing in the wind.
So Bar Harbor, Maine. I guess it makes sense. Buffalo to Newport to Maine. You
Hitchhiked to Maine from Newport, actually. Yeah.
and so you hitchhike probably all over the place. Do you have a gig bag for your guitar? And
How did you know I hitchhiked all over the place? And I wrote songs about it. That was one of the ones I sang in Newport.
Yeah.
My parents had a house in Maine,
Okay.
in Bar Harbor, outside Bar Harbor.
right.
My father was a medical researcher, and he worked at the laboratory there.
Wow.
And I worked in his lab.
And what was your dad's name?
John Boylan.
Okay, and that's your brother's name as
MP.
well.
Right.
Excellent.
My father was a famous physician who won the Alexander von Humboldt Prize, which is second only to the Nobel.
And what did he win that for?
Renal physiology. He wrote the seminal book on countercurrent system in the mammalian kidney, which
The
is
counter what system?
countercurrent system. It's how your kidney works.
Okay.
It's osmotic gradient regulation. It's by transfer, your kidneys filter out what they don't need and keep the water level in your body stable.
Wow.
He discovered how that works by permeable membranes.
Uh-huh. Amazing, and it must have been
It's amazing.
kind of cool. And as a kid, did you sort of have a sense that your dad was renowned and revered?
He was by us.
That's good.
I don't know.
I
I didn't know what the world thought.
I think that's enough for most dads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very much like Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. All my friends said that too.
Was he a
They
good
said,
shot?
God, your father's just like Gregory Peck in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Was he a good shot too?
Yes, and he could box for a physician. That's interesting, isn't
Oh
it?
my goodness.
He took it up at Georgetown.
Uh-huh. And was he a big man? You're not.
He was 6'2", yeah.
Yeah, and you're about that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And your
You
brother.
know, the nice thing about radio is you don't have to worry too much about what you wear.
Well, you look wonderful.
Well, you feel free to describe my sartorial splendor.
It's
but
just ridiculous. It's so beautiful. You should be in that new
So
Devil
are you,
Wears
Norm.
Prada. Yeah. And I do like radio for that reason. And so you went into music. Did your brother went into music? Did you have other siblings? Did any of them follow your dad's footsteps?
Everyone in my family sang, and my father would sometimes invite friends over to accompany us. But then my brother and I picked up the guitar, and we did sometimes 4-part, 5-part harmonies. I mean, it was like Linda's family. Everybody sang, and we brought home songs, and it was great.
Well, I love that.
I was the only one who couldn't sing on key. So that was where,
But you're the first one to have a solo album
yeah,
released by a big label, Verve.
you're right, exactly. You did your homework. No,
But I mean, that's pretty impressive. That was a big label.
that was a cold call. I got on the elevator of NJM with my guitar. I wandered up and down the halls, and I saw Pete Spargo, A&R head, and I knocked on his door. His assistant or his secretary was away from the desk, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I play you something?" He said, "Sure, come on in." And he signed me.
That's just too much.
I know it.
Well, hats off to you for the chutzpah to just do that. The
I don't know
moxie.
where I got that. And I was only 17 then, so my parents had to sign the contract.
Yeah.
But by then I'd written 6 songs, including Who Do I Think I Am?
Oh, who I think I am.
That was one of the ones I played for him.
Which we have queued up right here, right now. You want to?
I'm going to be embarrassed, but go ahead.
You want to hear it? Well, you won't hear it unless you put your headphones on.
All right, well, sure.
They're right here.
Okay.
All right, good. We're gonna.
Don't
you
forget,
wanna-
I was 17 when I recorded this.
Well, I was 66 when I first heard it and thought that's a great song. So
Yes.
here it is.
Listen to me thinking out loud, talking this way, so hung up inside. Listen to me, my head's in a cloud, running away with no place to hide. Who do I think I am? Who am I to be running around, putting anyone but my own self down? What's going on inside my brain? I must be going insane. Who do I think I am? Anything I said to you, I don't know what I was thinking of. Anything I tried to do, I tried to do for you, my love. Listen to me walking along, saying your name, repeating myself, wondering why everything's wrong and putting the blame on somebody else. Who do I think I am? Who am I to be running around, putting anyone but my own self down? What's going on inside my brain? I must be going insane. Who do I think I am?
That is such a beautiful song.
Norm, you're so kind.
And I'm not really,
I
but
hear the embarrassing young me, but you know what I hear? The influences in that. I was robbing everything from everybody.
well, that's what artists do, isn't it?
Yeah, you hang out in the village. I mean, I probably got in the recording studio and thought, maybe I better sound like somebody, who's already accepted, and that'll maybe help me along.
And who did you borrow from or steal from in
that song?
Yeah.
Fred Neil, Tim Hardin, and John Sebastian. I can hear all three of those influences.
Yeah. And right up
Tim
front.
Hardin was playing at the Night Owl. So was I.
Yeah.
So I listened to his set, and to me, he was just such a good singer. Fred Neil, remember?
No.
Everybody's talking.
Oh,
at
yeah.
me.
Sure.
Don't hear a word they're saying.
He was the writer? Or
He wrote that,
Glenn
yeah.
Campbell?
Glenn did his songs. A lot of people did them. But
Right.
that also was the theme from Midnight Cowboy.
Right.
Going where the sun keeps shining in the pouring rain.
Look at you.
He was that low guy.
Yeah. That's good.
But I hear that influence in there. And definitely Tim Hardin.
Yeah. And what about the voice we just listened to? That's 65 years ago.
At least. Yeah, it was.
That voice, that beautiful voice. Can you still hit those high notes?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
And do you practice every day?
I've never been in love before.
That's good. So do you practice every day? Do you practice your your singing, and do you do vocal warm-ups, and do you take extra good
Just
care?
happened. I'll tell you a really cool thing. This is what I'm excited about. In order to see if I still had enough chops to accept those concerts that I was offered, I bought a sound system, set up the mics in the big room in my house, had the speakers aimed toward me so that I would hear what the audience was hearing, and I started singing I made up a set, and I sang the set, and there were a couple of songs missing, so I wrote them to fill the spots where it needed an upbeat one or it needed a ballad, and I wound up writing 4 new songs just rehearsing, and that's what the EP will be.
You get a new EP coming out.
Well, I've recorded most of it. There's piano parts and guitar parts still to go that I'm waiting for the people to show up and do. I've played everything else myself.
Yeah.
But I don't, I'd rather real musicians come in and I play them what I played, and then they do it right.
And who do you work with? Who are the real musicians you work with these days?
Well,
Local?
Tony Levin and Ron,
Sure.
he's Peter Gabriel's.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time,
He
but
plays out a lot in Woodstock.
Yeah, right,
With Jerry
exactly.
Marotta.
Yeah, right. And Jerry is another one. But I did the drums, so that's okay. But I'm hoping Tony, I haven't talked to him in years, 2 years at least, but I'm hoping to talk him into it. So I played a bass part, and the slot's all waiting for him. He can just come in and do it right.
Yeah.
Do it correctly.
And now your first album, it said somewhere, read that it was you and Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, and then the other person was like 3 different drummers.
Yeah, they were very excited about that. And Donald and Walter sat me down, and they gave me the history of the world. He said there was fire, and then the wheel, and then Charlie Parker. And it's been all downhill ever since. And this was my lesson in jazz. So when they played for me all these samples, I realized how good they were. They were just riffing on various tunes. They were playing John Coltrane and stuff. So when I got signed to MGM, I had no band. So I went to them and I said, would you back me on this? And they said, yeah, who are you going to get for a drummer? And I said, well, I've got Herb Lavelle lined up. And they were like, what? We're going to play with Herb Lavelle? He was their hero. He was the greatest drummer to them.
Amazing. And
when they walked in the studio, it was reverence exuding from them.
And what were they like? Were they a couple of cocky Bard students?
Yeah, and I don't think they thought much of my music.
Yeah.
I think they were like, they thought I was square.
But they were just a couple of Bard students. They weren't Steely Dan at that point.
No. That was the first time in the recording studio for either of them.
Yeah.
Walter Becker had won a JBL Malibu, which is 2,000-pound sand, 2 15-inch woofers on the biggest speaker ever in a poker game. So he used to blow the doors off the dormitory, with playing guitar parts that were just outrageous. And so I said, well, you can play guitar. He said, well, I'm a bass player. I said, well, good, you can do both. So he played bass, guitar, and Fagen played all the keyboards.
Right.
That was it.
And you sang and played guitar?
I sang and played acoustic.
Okay.
Then they said, listen, you need some better songs. And we've got a couple for you. So we
Who
recorded.
said that, Fagen and Becker?
Yeah. So we recorded Stone piano. We recorded a very early version of Brooklyn Owns the Charmer Under Me. And we recorded a crazy song they wrote called Bus Driver is a Fruitcake, which medleyed into a song they'd written for the Trans-Texas Airlines. Boom, ba-dum, Trans-Texas. And that was the chorus. And it was so off the wall that when I played it for the record company, they scratched their heads and said, I don't know, I mean, we like your stuff, but that's a little, I wish I'd kept all 3 of them on the album.
Yeah. But do you have them somewhere?
Yeah. I think they're on 8-track in a vault. And
8-track magnetic tape.
Oh, yeah.
In
so it'll have
climate
to be baked.
controlled.
Yeah, it'll have to be baked. I can try to find those.
What does that mean, baked?
Really,
Does that bring the sound back?
yeah, it keeps the oxide from shedding. If
From
you've got
shedding.
all you out there who have really old tapes, put them in the oven at 110 degrees for about an hour, and then capture them on digital on the first pass through, and you'll get a completely clean rendition. After that, you got some? Shen's nodding. She's probably got a box full of cassettes or something.
Yeah.
But you get a clean pass, and then the oxide will start shedding, and it looked like dandruff all over the record head. Playback.
That just sounds like a nightmare.
Little technical side here, Norm.
Bring it on.
We should also tell them that we're speaking through Shure SM.
I don't know. Matt left. Matt Rosenberg, our own personal tech geek.
Anyway, it's a nice studio, Norm.
I wish I could take credit
for it. You guys
for
have
it.
got a great outfit here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Producer extraordinaire Jen Hamoud here. Matt started this thing like over 4 years ago, and Matt and Jen have really built it into, it was like a ragtag sort of thing, but a good idea, and Matt and Jen have built it into this here with the fabulous Shure microphones. should do an ad for Shure microphones.
Well, I'm hoping they'll send you, as many as you need now.
Probably. We have millions of listeners, so it's worth it to them. I have so many questions. Back to.
Okay, then I'll give you short answers.
Oh, good. Back to the folk festival. You said did you just show up, or were you with 3 songs, or were you invited to come audition?
No, I had met those people. I met Pete Seeger at the Village Gate, and I auditioned, and then I went to the. No, wait, it's the other way around. I went to the Newport Folk Festival, met Pete Seeger and Theodore Bickel and George Wein, who was the main producer of it. and they let me into the New Folks concert, and then I went to the Village and met Pete Seeger at the Village Gate that fall, that very same fall.
Okay. So you go, you got the 3 songs, you play them for Pete Seeger or whoever, and then the next day you're on stage, or that very day?
You're right. I auditioned on Friday, and the New Folks concert was Saturday and Sunday.
And you'd had a lot of experience playing around Buffalo by this point.
Yeah, so that was the easy part, but getting in, because there were 100 kids with their guitars wanting to audition too.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was like a cattle call lineup, and I thought, I'm never going to get it. I won't even they'll close the door before I even get to it.
Right.
But it worked.
And so then the next day you're standing on stage?
Next day, I'm on stage singing. And then a cool thing happened. My brother and I made a bet of who could get closer to the stage at the night concert. And this, I love this story, okay? So he talked Dave Garr, a famous photographer, into getting into the photography. He said, there's no way my brother's going to beat this. But I had a kin pass from Judy Collins, and I was backstage. And Joan Baez had terrible stage fright. She used to throw up, it was awful. She was shaking and everything. So I went and I put my arms around her and I gave her a hug. And she calmed down a little bit. Do you know that cattle squeeze is a real thing?
Yeah.
I just kept hugging her, and finally she stood up, was not pale anymore, and she went on stage, and she was great. And when she was done, she leaned down, because I was now sitting by the end of the stage, and she pulled me up on the stage for like a thing. And my brother looked up and he went, I don't believe it. He got closer than I did.
It's amazing. So when it was your turn on stage, did you get stage fright?
Yes, always.
And do you still?
Yes.
And when's the last time you played out anywhere in front of a live audience?
Oh, I don't remember. Well, it was a Christmas concert in New York. I don't remember what year it was, but I haven't done a concert of me. I've joined people. Levon Helm's Rambles. Did you ever go there?
Yeah.
My godson and my nephew play there all the time, and I've joined them. But I haven't played anything of me. I haven't been.
And who are your godson and nephew?
Elvis Perkins.
No way.
And Deerland. Well, you know him?
I know Elvis.
You do? Great.
Yeah.
He's a great kid.
I'm not sure he'd remember me. We were extras in a movie together about Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, like 5 years ago up in Hudson.
Really?
Yeah. And I met this guy. We were standing around talking. I'm like, wow, you're really nice. And then I guess we started following each other on Instagram and stuff. And then I was like, oh, wow, look, you're really something. I love his music.
Isn't Elvis the biggest sweetheart?
Yeah.
I'm just crazy about him.
Yeah.
He's wonderful, wonderful. And my nephew, Wyndham Boylan Garnett, is Elvis's best friend.
Nice.
They grew up together. Tony and Barry, Elvis's parents, Tony Perkins and Barry Berenson, were my family's closest friends. They were like a fifth sister and a third brother.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm his godfather. Barry and I were like, I've known her since she was my older sister Nooney's best friend. And that's how Elvis and I sing. But he was always fascinated by the fact that I was playing guitar and singing songs.
Right.
So maybe I should take a little credit there. But
yeah, maybe.
But he's a classical guitar player. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
He's formally trained.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like rock folk, I guess. I mean, from what I've heard.
He can do anything.
Yeah.
He can do African chants.
So regardless of taking credit or not, it must make you proud to see this
kid.
Always.
When I see Wyndham and Elvis up on stage, they were in a band together called Deerland. And when I see him on stage, I get misty-eyed. I mean, it's just fabulous.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And he's adorable. Every woman I know is like, oh, like
they're
Elvis
both
Perkins'
adorable.
heartthrob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyndham's a big strapping lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So do you see them often?
Not as much as I'd like, but everybody's going in 8 directions all the time.
Yeah.
So.
And have you ever played out together with them?
Yeah, I've joined them a few times, and that's always been great. And we put a concert of them on at Ileana's house out over the river. Jen's been there. Great place.
Ileana.
Ileana is the love of my life.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
If you're listening, that's true. Yeah, so
He looks, if you're listening, he looks very sincere.
So we put on this concert of them out over the river, and like Rolling Thunder Review, they started inviting people up, and by the time the evening was over, there were 10 of us on stage. So it was a great night.
Oh, amazing.
All the musicians in the valley showed up.
And they do that a lot out at the barn at Amy Helm's place.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Huh. So how did
I met Levon a few times. You know that he pronounced it Levon?
Did he?
Yeah. It surprised me.
Huh. Levon, he seemed like a real
Or
genuine
maybe it
guy.
was just that day he was horsing around, but he said, hi, Levon Helm. And he was married to Libby then, who Donald Fagen was married to.
Right.
And he was really leaving the house as I was arriving, and he came back in to make sure everything was okay. I don't know. It was wild.
Yeah, she lived in Woodstock for a number of years.
Right.
And there were lots of stories about some of the turbulent relationships that happened around. Her name was mentioned in some of them.
Right. We can't speak ill of anyone, but
no,
it was turbulent.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah. And did you live in Woodstock for a spell?
Oh, yeah, a year.
What's that?
For a year.
And what year was that of your life? What age?
The year I got out of Bard.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was a senior, and my then girlfriend rented a house in Woodstock, and we stayed there for half of my senior year, and then another half a year. I didn't like it.
Yeah. And
I loved Rhinebeck, though.
You did. That's so amazing. And so you left Woodstock, and what didn't you like about Woodstock?
Okay, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. It seemed like a lot of people selling each other their sandals, and we didn't need any more. I don't know. That's unfair. What I didn't like.
It's not that unfair.
Okay, what I loved about Woodstock was I was invited to Albert Grossman's house several times, and Dylan was there, and sometimes Paul Butterfield, and one night George Harrison was there, and sitting at the bar in Albert's house, when you come in the back kitchen door, there's a bar dividing the kitchen, and you would sometimes see Dylan, George Harrison, Paul Butterfield, maybe Levon, sitting around that bar, and Albert in the other room with Sally, and it would be like, give you goosebumps. I can't believe I'm in a room with these people, and they're saying, do you want a beer?
Yeah. I love that.
I know.
And
that's why going to Bard was so cool.
Why?
Well, Dylan used to come over to Bard when I was there and hang out at Adolph's.
Okay.
And Adolph's Lampeter ran a little saloon near the campus, and drinking age was 18.
Right.
So the kids went down the road, as we used to say. And Dylan would come over with Bobby Newirth and Victor Mahmoudis and hang out, probably try to pick up people. And I don't know, it's just a cool scene.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger walked in one night.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a young musician with stars in their eyes being like, in those experiences, being like, nah, it's not really the spot for me. So, I mean, hats off to you for knowing your own heart and not getting swept up in all that fame.
I was pretty swept up. It was easy to be
and
swept
yet you
up
left
on.
anyway.
When I graduated, I went out to L.A. As soon as I left Woodstock.
Following your big brother.
Yeah, following my big brother. We had gone out there. Yes, following my big brother, who was already with Linda Ronstadt, and
Professionally. Yeah.
And
one of my favorite voices.
Right. And she used to sing in the shower. They were living together up in Laurel Canyon, and I had no place to live, so I lived in the back bedroom. And I used to hear Linda singing in the shower, and I thought, singing in the shower is one thing, and that's another.
Yeah.
That's a different game.
That's amazing. What a blast that must have been.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So your brother was producing stuff, out there, including Linda Ronstadt.
Right. We were both signed to Koppelman and Rubin, which was a big songwriting thing. Love and Spoonful were signed to them. Tim Hardin was signed to them. Alan Gordon and Gary Bonner were signed to them. And they wrote songs for the Turtles, amazingly. And so they said, we need a producer out west to produce, I think it was the Association. Remember the song, Wendy? And Johnny said, I'll
Never My Love.
Yeah, right. Johnny said, he said, I'll do that. I'll head out there and do that. And while he was out there, he got a job producing Rick Nelson, my childhood hero.
A.K.A.
Poor little
Ricky
fool.
Nelson.
Oh, yeah, I was a fool. I loved him. And so one night John said, I have to go up and talk to Rick about some songs. You want to come? Yeah, I do. Walked in the door, quietest, nicest guy. Man, I loved him.
And looking back on that, I mean, you must have been so starstruck. Were you too nervous to really drink it in as much
but I was most starstruck by Dylan.
Right.
I mean, I used to get flush and start to, shake. And this Dylan's here. I'd say, where? Everybody else was amazing, but Dylan was unknowable. Do any of your interviewees give you trouble?
Not yet.
No?
We're only just over halfway through.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Pretend you're interviewing Bob Dylan. I'll show you what trouble is, okay?
Okay.
Now, this is the young Dylan, or earlier Dylan, because right now he's so reticent that he answers in monosyllables. But I'll try. Ask me a question.
Why did you change your name? Is any part of that sort of a shame of being a Jew? And
you got a lot of nerve asking me that. I mean, first of all, you say change and names. I mean, those words mean different things to all of us. I mean, I don't know what they mean to you. I mean, they could mean cantaloupe or John Paul Jones. I know what they mean to me, but I mean, you got a lot of nerve asking me, who I am. The name is just nothing, man. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah, excuse me, Mr.
That's the
Dylan.
opening salvo, and then you really get into trouble.
Why do you think he would be like that?
He was so prickly, spiky. And he was right. I mean, that Time magazine interview that's quite famous where he said, so why do you sing protest songs and why do you think you can change the world? And Dylan was like, and he said, a lot of people say you can't sing. What a thing to say to Dylan, right? He's a very cool voice. And Dylan said, did you ever hear Caruso? And he said, yeah. And he said, well, he hits those notes. I hit those notes too, man. We do the same thing. He said, I just hit them in a different way. See, things are beautiful to some people, and they're not so beautiful to others. And, you ever look in a gutter and see something pretty? I mean, you have no idea what you're talking about when you say, I can't sing. He just lambasted it. He blew him right out of the room.
That's a good answer
to
that question. And it makes me think, apart from Dylan, were the singers as a young man you really loved?
Buddy Holly.
Male or female?
Buddy Holly, Everly Brothers, and then Dylan. I liked the folk scene. Later on, I hung out with the Kingston Trio when they were going out instead of the hottest thing in folk world.
Uh-huh.
They were a blast to hang out with. They'd rent 3 hotel rooms and party all night. I never saw anything like it.
Yeah. But again, I mean, the folk scene over in Woodstock was just crazy. John Sebastian, all the guys from the band, Happy and Artie Traum. Mm-hmm. It was just hopping.
Artie was a great guy, man. He was one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I loved him. He gave me the Taylor that I still play. He was a representative for Taylor Guitars. Yeah.
He was what?
He was a representative for Taylor Guitars.
Nice.
And a great guitar player.
Yeah, Happy too.
Both of them.
Yeah, may they both rest in peace. The world's a sadder place for them being gone. Woodstock royalty, really they were. But again, I mean, there's so much to lure you to Woodstock, and yet you traveled around and ended up here.
That is a piece of chance that is one. If you can think of 3 turns of your life,
Yeah.
I always drove by this house when I was a student, and I moved out to California, and I always missed the East. And I thought, I wonder if that house is ever going to become available. And after David Geffen signed me to Asylum, I had to go to New York for some reason, and I came to Rhinebeck to find out if the house was available. And it wasn't, but it would be. And I grabbed it. That's why I'm here.
You're still in that same house?
Mm-hmm.
And where is the house?
It's on River Road.
Lovely road. That's just what a great story.
It's what a turn of the events. Huh?
And were you renting it at that point, or did you have
Renting, buying.
Buying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what a great deal. So the check from Geffen was a lot of money.
More zeros than I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big time. Because MGM, there wasn't a lot of money going on there. They signed me for $5,000, I think.
Yeah.
But with Asylum, that was a big deal. That was a very big deal. It changed my life.
And what was the Asylum deal?
The Asylum deal that David Geffen said was, I only want to have a record company that's as big as I can fit in my sauna. Don Henley famously said to him after he signed about 20 people, he said, how's your sauna coming? And Geffen said, I want everybody to feel like they sort of got the same deal. They got an advance of X, and then they got X amount for their first album. And, he was trying to sign Laura Nyro. And she had said yes, but she turned him down at the last minute. And so he signed Jackson Browne, and then Joni Mitchell, and then the Eagles, and then Queen, and then, he had a great run.
Yeah.
And then Linda.
Right.
My brother signed Linda to Geffen's label.
Just spectacular. So apart from Dylan, who was which recording artist were you most starstruck with?
Beyond the Fringe, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're not musicians exactly.
No. See, I did voices. I do voices and narration.
All right, come on, I'm waving them in.
And I did characters for radio plays and stuff. And so I loved the whole Beyond the Fringe thing. I mean, it was not only funny, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I had always admired Ruth Draper. And I said, you'll only be any good at this if you can do anything or anybody. So I worked at it. And, I did a lot of voices and a lot of ads.
Right. And did you write comedy stuff?
Yeah. That's how Appletree Theatre came about.
Okay.
So I got signed to MGM, and my brother and I got the flu over Christmas. I had already started recording the Alias Boona album, and Johnny and he had jumped off a wall on New Year's or something and sprained his ankle, and I had a cold.
Your doofus big brother.
Right, my big brother. So we're locked in the apartment together. And I said, listen, I do skits, I do voices. You are in the theater. We do comedy. We riff on Beyond the Fringe. Let's do an album where the songs are interspersed with comedy skits. And he said, brilliant. So I took the idea to Pete Spargo, and I said, can I put my album on hold while we do this? Because we've cooked up the whole plan. We've got the songs, and we've got the skits.
My brother's not going anywhere for a couple of weeks.
And my brother's not going anywhere for a month. So he said, sure. I said, it's experimental. We're not sure what we're going to do here. We're probably going to do a lot of improv in the studio. And we went in and we cut the album in, I think, 2 months.
Wow. And this is the album called Playback, which I'm dying to hear everything that's been written about it and the reviews about it.
I'll bring you a copy.
And you mentioned George Harrison, but John Lennon dubbed Playback one of his top 10 albums of the year when it came out.
That blew me away.
Blew me away. That's
Peter
so
Meaden, who was the head of Polydor. MGM was on its own label in the U.S., but they were on Polygram Polydor in Europe. So the head of A&R met me in London. He said, I got a treat for you. Disc Magazine, Penny Valentine, interviewed John Lennon. He said Appletree Theatre was his new favorite album. You're huge here right now. And I said, no. I was more famous in England than I was in New York.
So you're huge. Were you getting recognized by people on the street?
No.
Yeah, which is great. So you're huge in name, but not in like face recognition. So you're not getting
Somebody
co-ranked
recognized me
and
at the Bag of Nails. And
Uh-huh.
do you know who was playing there that night?
No.
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh,
And nobody knew who he was.
Right.
And Peter Meaden said, we're going to hear this kid at the Bag of Nails, and then we're going to go to the Speakeasy, which was the other cool club. We walked into the Bag of Nails, and there was Eric Clapton, Lennon, Ringo, the guy from Who, Pete Townsend, and all sitting in booths around, or tables around
to
the
hear
thing,
Hendrix.
To hear Hendrix.
This phenom from
This
stateside.
phenom, and he was. I mean, he blew the doors off the room.
And I've read about that night, about these people seeing him for
And
the
that was
first
Peter
time.
Meaden, R.I.P., that showed me all that in London. He took me to Appletree, where I bought the jacket that George Harrison wore in Magical Mystery Tour. I still have
You
that.
still have it? Oh,
Yeah.
boy. If you ever, like, may you never be on hard times, but if you are, you probably get a pretty penny for
All
that.
right, Norm, I promised you short answers.
Oh.
Fire away. Okay,
Yeah.
machine gun.
Well, I don't really have set questions. Actually, I do have some. I wanted to ask about your songwriting. Where does the inspiration come from?
I don't know. You know, a lot of people have tried to explain that process. I can tell you two things for sure. Some writers write into other songs. Dylan admitted it. He wrote about it in Chronicles. He would take a song that already existed, write new lyrics to it, and then change the melody.
Yeah.
So, for example, in his set at the Gaslight was No More Auction Block, a slave spiritual, right? If you listen to the melody of it, no more auction block for me, no more, no more. How many roads must a man walk down? And the chorus of No More Auction Block was, many thousand gone. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. It's so similar.
Yeah.
And then he would just modify a little. I mean, Hard Rain's Gonna Fall is Lord Randall, My Son. Well, where are you, Lord Randall, My Son? It's the same song. Dylan just wrote new lyrics to it.
Yeah.
Apparently Don't Think Twice was a Paul Clayton song, and everybody else knew the melody, and Dylan just modified it a little.
But you said you didn't work that way.
I don't know how. I don't know what happens.
Uh-huh.
I start a song, I start singing it, and I have to pull over and write it. And it's like it's already there. I'm just
Nice.
writing it down as fast as I can think of it.
When you pull over, do you dictate, or do you have like a pad and
I
a pencil?
find an
in it?
envelope and there's never a pen when you need it.
Never a pen.
So
We're going to bring you a couple of dozen radio3rancliffe.org pens.
you need another one of these now.
Oh,
What
boy.
we are trying is
This is so good.
that I've modified over the years. Ilyana tells me that these are tells me these are the best margaritas. But
It says really, really good.
did you like yours?
And it goes down way too easy. All right, listen, we are running out of time. But I want to hear one more of your songs. And I told you what we had. We got County Fair and Tell Me that we haven't played. I know which one I'd like to hear. Do you have a preference?
Tell me.
Well, that's our first fight. Yeah, play what
You
the
only have to
esteemed
play
guest.
half of Tell Me. Why
All
don't
right,
you just
then we'll
play
play half a County Fair.
and then
Good.
play well, County Fair, sure.
Can't believe this is happening to me. I don't know how it got so turned around. You used to tell me you were afraid of me, and then you turned me down. I told you once that you could rise above. Wasn't that a crazy thing for me to say? How'd I ever get so lost in love? I can't find my way. Tell me what's going on. I don't know anymore what's right. you know I'd rather give up now than ever hear you lie. Those things I told you when you came to me.
Now, that starts off, I don't know if you heard me, it starts off with kind of a Steely Dan vibe. Were Becker and Fagen on that song?
No. That is Michael Mardian, but Michael Mardian was on most of the Steely Dan songs.
Okay.
So it's the same piano player.
Okay.
It's probably the same piano player as in Dr. Wu and Ricky Don't Lose That Number. And,
Right.
And Michael Mardian is one of the great. Picaro is on bass. Jim Gordon is on drums. He played with Steely Dan too. So you're listening to 4 or 5 musicians who played on most of the Steely Dan records.
And do you play piano as well?
I do.
Yeah.
I write on the piano a lot.
That was my next question. Don't steal my questions, mister.
Mr. Dialing to you.
Yeah, yeah. So you write on the back of an envelope, and then you go home and you sit at the piano, not at a guitar.
No, I sing without anything.
Okay.
I'm writing lyrics and I'm singing them because usually a melody is called up by the lyrics.
It's so beautifully magical. And, makes you think of the muse. Do you believe in the muse? I know lots of artists.
Totally.
Yeah.
I completely believe in that. And you better grab it, too, because sometimes you say, I'll remember that, and
never.
And later you won't. It's
no.
In Xanadu did Kubla Khan. That poem was interrupted.
Yeah.
And he never could finish it.
And so what percentage of the time that you think, oh, that's such a good idea, I know I'll remember it in an hour or tomorrow or whatever, what percentage of the time do you actually remember that?
That is such a cool question. If it's really good, it sticks in there. Maybe you're driving down the Taconic and you can't pull over, or you've got it, though, you just start singing and singing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the chorus. You'll remember that forever, I think. Because you say, oh, I've got that one now.
Right.
Like a song, it's ready.
But also you're saying it out loud, which probably helps.
Yeah.
Because to some degree you're saying out loud, you're hearing it for the first time as well.
Right, and you're making up melodies, you're trying out different stuff. It all happens. Every song is a little bit different, of course, but, it comes to you, and I don't know where that... You can't sit down and say, I'm going to write a song. I've never been able to do that. I have had a line in my head and said, I'm just going to write that down, and then the next one comes.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, I look up and the whole thing is done. I don't know where that happened. But, if you just say, I'm just going to write a couple of lines because they're on my mind right now, very often it'll just keep going. You don't stop it.
Right. All right, I want to play just a little bit of County Fair.
Now, that's a comedy skit. You know that, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, is this off the Alias Boona or the Appletree Theatre?
No, the Alias Boona.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I was riffing on, that's an Appletree Theatre. I wrote that for the Appletree Theatre, but I did it again on mine. But go ahead.
And it has a real country music flair to it. Yeah. A bit of a tongue in the cheek. All right, well, let's hear that.
Well, I've been spending too much money at the county fair, buying liquor for my friends and all the women there. I ought to be getting back home to get my feet back on the ground. Something deep inside this heart of mine says to stick around. Well, the county fair is the place to go if you want to have a good time. The county fair is the place to go if you want to blow your mind.
And was that you on the guitar making that twangy?
Yeah, it's a tremolo on the Fender.
A tremolo on the Fender. It's so cool.
I learned that from Zalyanowski. It's just a lift on like Floyd Kramer on the guitar. And if you put the tremolo up, you get that little boing.
And who are some of your guitar heroes?
Gene Parks, for sure. I loved Hendrix, especially Wind Cries Mary. That was one of the coolest guitar parts ever. Gene Parks, certainly. For an acoustic guitar, Bernie Leadon was almost impossible, of the Eagles, was almost impossible to beat. Fred Neil was a good guitar player. Dylan learned his cross finger-picking style from a lot of different players, but he was very good.
Yeah.
He knew how to play. I mean...
And who, if anybody, have you heard lately, in the past 20 years, say, that made you sit up and be like, wait, who's that? I gotta find out. I gotta get that album.
Weather Station?
I don't know Weather Station.
Oh, fabulous. Lindemann is such a good songwriter. She's beautiful. She's fabulous. She might not exist without Joni Mitchell, but she is as good. She's amazing. Weather Station, listen to Tried to Tell You. I Tried to Tell You. Parking Lot. Both those songs are just killer. I like been listening to my playlist now is all over the place. I'm beginning to appreciate people that I scorned, And it's because if you make records, you listen to all kinds of you may listen to all kinds of music because you're listening to, hey, that's a great bass sound, or how did they get that kick to sound so tight, or so you begin to you might listen to a Celine Dion song and say that's the best piano part, or listen to Kid Charlemagne by Steely Dan to hear, what horns should sound like. So you're really studying. You're a student of music rather than a kid in college who has narrower tastes. He's cool, he isn't. I would never listen to Barry Manilow, but I would certainly listen to Neil Young.
Right. You said people you've reconsidered. Who really surprised you when you came back round and thought, wait, they're not lame and uncool. They're amazing. If anybody springs to mind.
It's happening in wildly different ways. I listened to I Ain't Got Nothing by anyway, we'll leave that one. Some radio hit makers who I never paid attention to before have been coming on the radio, and I've been saying, wow, that's amazing, like Journey and he did a solo album, To Perry.
Yeah.
Foolish heart.
Amazing. Such
incredible voice. And then he was top 40. Now those records are more interesting to me. And I found out he learned to sing from Sam Cooke.
Wow.
Listen to it now, and it's a different thing.
Do worse than learn to sing from Sam Cooke.
Cry.
Either Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Right.
And were you raised religious at all?
I'm Catholic, but
so there's not too much singing in church by the congregation.
I sang the Messiah when I was in 6th grade.
Right. Interesting.
It was all the schools in Buffalo.
Yeah, love that. Well, guess what? We're out of time. We're over time.
I'm sad, but
it's me too. I could go on like this for hours. Thank you so much for being here, Boona, and for bringing this fabulous margarita. Thanks everybody.
Glad you liked it.
I did. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great Friday and fabulous weekend. Thanks to the Epicurean and Patricia Wind, who lets us camp here in the Nook at the Epicurean. And of course, thanks to producer extraordinaire Jen Hamoud and Matt, from whom all good things flow. Have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again.